Hey, I'd like to welcome everyone in to the Member 365 webinar on Member Portal. Great to be here today. In case you don't know who I am, I'm your host. My name is Steve Foley. We've probably crossed paths at some point through a chat or a Zoom call or a support ticket. I'm going to take us through the portal experience today and happy to answer any questions that you have. Just be sure to put those into the Q&A bar of the Zoom, little Zoom box there. Now everybody is muted, so really the only way to get your questions answered is to put it into that Q&A box. We are going to record the video, post it to our website, and we'll be sure to get an email out so that you have easy reference to it. And if you haven't checked out our website, go take a look to see if there's any other upcoming webinars that you may find of interest. So in terms of our agenda, we've got 3 items. We're going to do a big walkthrough of my demo that I've set up for the call today. And I've curated 3 best practices that I'm going to go over with you. And then at the end, we'll see if there's any questions that come in. So without further ado, let's head over to the member portal itself. So as you probably know, your members access your portal using the same URL that you access the admin, except they've removed the /admin. They wouldn't know that that even exists, so they've already been sent an email and likely have bookmarked your member portal with this URL. We also recommend that you point to it off of your public-facing website somewhere that members can find easily there. When members arrive on the portal, they're going to see a screen here that asks them to put in their username and password. Usernames are always based on the email address that they have assigned to their contact record in your database. The password is initially created by Member 365, but the member can always change that at any point. Now, if your members are having any problems or challenges signing in, sometimes it is because they forget their password. So you will notice a forgot password link under the green button. This allows them to go through a process to reset their password. We've also linked to an article in our knowledge base that describes other issues that may be impacting their ability to log in. Usually it is because they're using an outdated web browser or a web browser that's not supported anymore. Another reason is their environment may not be allowing for cookies to be written to their computer. If your members are inside institutions, education, financial, legal, they may have certain settings that prevent cookies from being written. There's some more information in that link should you like to take a look at it yourself. So let's go ahead and log in to the member portal. Take a look around. So this is what my member portal looks like when I log into it. You're probably already familiar with the main navigation bar that allows the member to get access to your workspaces and committees, events, directory, job board, and so on. You may or may not have seen an additional navigation bar up at the top, and this is where you get access to some of your administrative capabilities inside the member portal. It's also the place where a member could submit an inquiry to you should you have the inquiry system turned on. So if you're not seeing this administration button in the member portal, it means you do not have the appropriate rights to be an administrator in the portal. And that is something that's set in the CRM on your contact record under your permissions. So in regard to my member portal, you can see that I'm using it to greet the member into the portal by name, and I'm providing some direction in terms of asking them to update their contact information, choose communication preferences, and I'm also pointing them into an area where I set up discussion forums, file libraries, and other resources. So there is a way for you to customize this message, once again, if you have admin access. If you do have admin access, you have access to the editing function right here. There's a way to update this message in the back office, but if you happen to be in the member portal and want to add something to the message, you are able to hit that little edit button, and that takes you into an editing mode. And I've actually created links that go directly to specific pages in the member portal, so you are able to go and load a page, for example, under my account, my profile, grab that URL, and then attach it to a string of text in this editor. So this does require a little bit of HTML formatting skills, but it's something you can play with to get a feel for. You'll also notice on the right-hand side, I've turned off the rotation, and I've included 4 badges right here at the root level. In fact, it's all one badge that I simply stack these graphics on top of one another. And once again, I can link these badges to go directly to the consolidation of all the discussion forum messages that I have access to across all the workspaces and committees that I may have been assigned. So we'll head back to the dashboard. Just FYI, I use a product called Canva to create these graphics. It's a pretty cool online program, canva.com. It's free, although you can purchase a paid subscription. It simply gives you access to more graphics and icons, but I use their free Canva solution to design these badges that you're looking at. They make it really easy for non-techies like myself. You'll also notice right here in the center, we're highlighting our next upcoming event, the Leadership Series webinar. This graphic as well was created in Canva, and when I set up that Leadership Series webinar as an event, I use that graphic as my banner, which is displayed here in the member portal. Down below, we have a couple of blocks that are defaults to the Member 365 system. We're just showing other upcoming events, as well if you have our job database and online store turned on and enabled for viewing these 2 icons load in. And then we get into a little more information that's tailored to me, such as Workspaces that I have access to that I've chosen to bookmark here on the dashboard. If you're using the inquiry system, you can see here I've submitted an inquiry regarding membership. It's still open, so I'm waiting for a response back from you in that context. And then over here on the right, we consolidate all of the recent discussion postings that have been going on, so that I don't have to go digging through all the different places that these forums exist. I can see more recent discussions right here. So this is my dashboard, and there's kind of lots of ways that you can tailor this through the badges, through the welcome message, as well as by adding in some graphics for your events that pretty up the experience for your members. Now let's just go through the navigation bar. I'm going to actually start on the right, because at a minimum, you're likely already using the member portal to offer an account to each member so that they can come in and get access to their profile and information on hand with you. So for example, I could go into my account, my profile, and what this will load is what we would expect, our contact information. It's the place that I can upload a photograph. The photograph appears in discussion forum postings. It also would appear in a directory of people, should you wish to create one. It's also the place where I can come in and indicate how I'd like to be corresponded with. Should you snail mail me a letter, I can indicate a business or a residential, and I can also provide social media links. It's a place where I can change my password. It's also a place where I can update my payment information. Now, we do not save any credit card numbers in Member 365, but we do save a profile that the payment processor gives us when we process a transaction, and this profile is used for automated recurring billing. It's necessary in order to automatically charge a credit card for a membership renewal. Should I be opted into automated recurring billing, I would be able to come here and change my credit card information in advance of that billing deadline. Really important if I know my card's expired or if I lost the card and had a new card issued. It allows me to self-serve myself and update this information. It doesn't create more noise for you folks as administrators. You'll also notice that there's a couple of profiles that I have access to. One is a preference profile, the other is a volunteer profile. Now these are simply forms that are designed in the back office and made available to me as a member as forms that I can fill out here in the member portal. The names are simply names I've created for the demo, so you can create any profile that serves your purpose. It could be a profile for speakers, it could be a profile for a prospective member who maybe you want to give access to the portal and you want them to be able to fill out some additional information. So there's lots of ways for you to create forms, and this is one application of a form being built and then provided as a viewable form in the portal. Of course, as you may or may not know, our list builder allows you to find people who've come in, for example, and tag themselves as management and leadership under their interests or expertise, so that you can filter your audience down and be really effective at finding an audience and targeting them with messages. We did cover list building on a prior webinar, so if you are interested in that, you can find a recorded webinar from last week, I believe. Now, while I'm in here on my profile or my account, I can go through the other options, such as looking at my membership. So this would load my membership, show me my status, and you can see that it allows me to get access to a certificate. So it's another way that you can personalize the experience for members. We do offer you some templates that you can work with. The certificates do a merge on names and a few other strings of text. So if you are looking to provide something that the member can produce, like the certificate that I've produced, that is something that you would configure in the back office and the administrative side in your membership category setup. I can also get access to all my invoices and receipts. So everything rolls up here for the member. And if I've chosen a payment method that's not credit card, when I come in here, it'll show me that I can actually change my mind and pay for that purchase using my credit card. So that's why we're seeing Pay Now buttons on this screen. And then we have a Receipts tab that shows me everything that's paid that's in good, there's no balance outstanding. I can click on any of these invoices to generate them and get access to the PDF version should I need to print that off. Just so you know, you have access to all of my purchase receipts as well. If you find my contact record in the back end, you can always grab an invoice and send it to me should I choose not to log into the member portal. Now, going back over to my account, I'd like to show you email notifications. So there's a number of ways that your members can choose the types of communications they want to receive from you. One is by logging into the member portal and coming here and choosing email subscription lists that you set up as choices. I also see these choices when I click the unsubscribe link on any email you send to me. So it's really important if you haven't set up any sign-up forms in our email campaigner that you consider doing so that I have some choice if I want to unsubscribe. Instead of just unsubscribing from everything, I may see a particular distribution list that I am interested in and continue to leave consent for you to email me. So it's also a mitigation strategy for you to consider because by law, we have to give the opportunity to everyone to get off your email lists. So by creating some choices, I'm more prone to stay on a few lists that I have interested in and removing access to the other lists. Finally, under my account, it's the place that I can take a look at how I appear in the directory. And it's also the place where I can edit the type of information that I want to display in the directory. So if I wanted to remove my email address from the directory, I could do that. If I wanted to, remove all of my address block, I could do that. So you do have ways to set up the directory, and as administrators, you can declare what needs to be shown at a minimum, and then you could allow the member to choose anything else that they're looking to display in your directory. So the next place I want to spend a little bit of time in is Workspaces, because this is really where you can tailor content to different audiences. You may have different tiers of membership, bronze, silver, gold, where you may have chapters, alpha, beta, delta, and so on, where you would like to curate content and make it only available to people who meet the requirements for seeing the content. So you are able to design workspaces that would be accessible if you're in the alpha or beta chapter. You can design other areas where if you're a member, you get access. Because keep in mind, you can't allow non-members to log in here, so they wouldn't see the members-only workspaces. You can also set up workspaces that I get access to because I've registered for an event in Member 365, and through that event registration, I'm automatically granted access into a workspace. So we're seeing our clients use the workspaces to curate the content of webinars that you're delivering these days. So let's go in and take a look at the finance webinar. So this workspace is set up to give me access because I've registered into the finance webinar event. And here we've curated the video of the event. We've embedded it right into the page. And there was also some handouts at the event. So you had distributed some files. So there's all the files being made available to me here as well. Now, for this event, I chose to turn on a discussion forum just so that the participants of the event could have an opportunity to post any follow-up questions. You, of course, can decide to not turn on a discussion forum if this particular space doesn't call for one or this particular event doesn't call for a space. You'll also notice that I used Member 365 to build a post-event survey, and I've asked everybody to click the link to take the survey through this workspace that I have access to. So let's head back the workspace root. Here's an example of workspaces that act solely as discussion forums. So I have a grouping called discussion forums, and then there's 3 different forums underneath, one for COVID, the other which is your general member discussions, and then there was another forum set up for the debate room, world affairs. So let's go into general member discussions, and you can see in here, when we come through this space, there's all of the topics that I'm able to participate in. There's also the ability to post a new topic to this particular forum. And a discussion forum thread looks something like this. So if you recall in my profile, I was able to upload a photo. So the photo I upload is what's going to appear next to each posting. And your forum is your typical threaded forum. Now, I am logged in as an administrator, so I'm seeing a few extra buttons that you also would see as administrators. Things like being able to change the topic that was created by the author of this post, the ability to edit or delete the thread altogether, as well as the ability to edit or delete specific comments that have been left on the forum. If somebody wanted to leave a comment, they just scroll to the bottom. Should there be a file that they'd like to associate with their comment, they can also attach one here. Now, based on me posting a forum message, you'll notice in the left that there is a notification system. I have it turned off to never, but I can choose the frequency of my notifications. So if I want to be told right away that of that forum posting, I could change it to instant. If I wanted to get a consolidated daily digest, I could go with daily, weekly, monthly, or just leave it set off to never if I happen to be logging in on a periodic basis here. So the notification settings are a way for the system to draw engagement, get the member back in, remind them that there is this forum happening, and here are the latest posts that you may be interested in. So that gets emailed to them on that scheduled basis. So let's go back to the root of the Workspaces and take a look at a file library. So I built out a couple of Workspaces that are acting as a library, one to get access to business templates, and then another which is general association files, as I've called it. So let's go into the business template file library. So once I'm in here, you notice that I've added kind of a graphic for the most recent or the most relevant document, which I can click on to download. And then I can also get access to any of the other files that have been uploaded into this template file workspace, things like a business plan, human resource document, management document, sales, and so on. Now, as I get access to more and more of these workspaces, I start getting access to more and more files, and I may be wondering, I remember there's a file somewhere. So instead of chasing the file down in the specific workspace, we've created a centralized file library, which is located in the top the top navigation here. If I click on Files, what it does is it consolidates all the files that I have access to across all of the spaces that I've been assigned. So keep in mind, the spaces are permission-based. You can set them up so that they are available to everyone, or you can set spaces up so they're available to very limited audiences. But this is a way for me to be able to come in and look at all of the files that I have access to across all of the spaces. And I do see some questions coming in. Just to let you know, I'll be answering questions at the end, so thanks for your patience. So that's Workspaces. So Workspaces are a way for you to curate content, decide who gets access, and then within the space decide, is there going to be a forum capability that's attached to it, so that on top of having the web page and the file library, you may decide, I'm going to have a discussion forum for this particular space as well. Or you might just simply set up a space to act purely and only as a discussion forum. So you can also go that route. The next nav item is called Committees, and it works very similar to Workspaces. I'll show you the Board of Director committee that I've staged. You can see here I've actually embedded a video into the space. You can see that there are some files uploaded into the boards, the agenda, the minutes, a little board history document down there. We've turned on a discussion forum for them. And the other thing we've done is we've created an event that only the board can register into. So you're able to create events that are based on eligibility of registering into the event is based on having access to these committees and to these workspace areas. The other thing we've done in the Board of Director space is we've enabled a directory, because this is a limited view, a limited number of people who tend to know each other. You can turn on a directory that gives them access to the other board members. And then the last thing you can do in committees is you can track the role. So am I the chair, am I the secretary, am I the portfolio representative? You can design and add your own roles. And then it becomes a list builder filter. I've referred to that list builder when we were talking about the form and how you can find people based on form responses. You can do the same thing here with committee roles. Now, I'm going to finish up our walkthrough and give a very high level of the remaining items that you're probably familiar with to some extent. There's an event system in the member portal. So you can have members log in to look at the calendar. You may know that you can also take this calendar and embed it onto your website. In the member portal, you can also create directories of both people. You can also create directories based on organizations, entities, in this case, pro sport leagues. We also offer a job bank that allows you to monetize job postings, so you can charge a fee, allow member organizations and non-member organizations to be able to come in and post jobs. You can also put this job feature onto your public-facing website so that you don't have to log in to get access to it. We also have a member benefit database, so if you secured a listing of perks that members are eligible for, this is something that you can turn on, and you can list your different perks. And then, of course, you can click through a perk to get more details, and then you can attach an apply button that essentially directs them either to a website or loads an email with an address so that they can inquire about the perk that you're offering. In the member portal, we can also create and then make accessible to your members forms. It may be survey forms. It may be you're looking for speaker suggestions for the next coming event. You may need quarterly updates from certain types of contacts. So there's ways to design these forms and make them available to everyone or specific audiences. You can also allow form responses be viewed by others who need to see those responses. So instead of sending them into your back-end administration, you can, in fact, extend form views through the member portal. So here's a prospective member form that likely administrators are completing in the back office, but you have a few people that don't have back office access that need to see the entries. So it's a way for you through the member portal to be able to expose the entries into this particular form so that that person doesn't have to get access to your administrative area. This one would be a deeper dive in terms of forms. If you have questions about that, just get in touch with us, and we're happy to help. Finally, there's a storefront. If you haven't seen this, there is a capability to have a catalog of product, allow the member to go through and make a purchase, add it to basket, checkout. You can do things like sell sponsorship in the store. You also can sell physical products. So if you have a publication that you need to mail me after I make a purchase, we do alert you to fulfill those types of orders. Another thing that we're seeing more uptake on lately is monetizing digital assets, digital files. So selling access to a PDF document, which is something you could put into the store, which allows me to buy it, and then Member 365 would send those files to the user after the payment's been received. So there's lots of interesting applications of the store. And then the final place we can rest on is a centralized video database. So this is available to anyone who has a membership that you give access. So just let it be known that it is kind of a free-for-all video library. It's meant for all members to be able to consume and get access to any video that you're curating. All right, so let's go over a couple of best practices that I've curated for the call here today. Let me get back into my presentation. So a couple things. You may have seen in your member portal that your logo at the top is really tall and it eats up a lot of space, and the user needs to scroll forever to actually see the content of the member portal. So it's recommended that that logo up in the top left corner, as I've indicated here, is between 200 to 300 pixels tall. So just make sure that you scale it appropriately if you end up deciding you need to do so. This is another thing that we're happy to help you with. So, just reach out either through our chat support or submit a ticket. If you think your logo is way too big, we're happy to take a look at that for you and do a quick resize. The second best practice is update that member portal welcome message periodically. more often the better. And the member welcome message is this message that I've highlighted here. So, I'm using it to draw attention to updating my contact info or upgrading my communication preferences, for example. So use this. So if you haven't set up a discussion forum or you haven't set up those distribution lists that I could choose to get on or off, after you do that, come back to your welcome message and create some relevancy here, and even go as far as create a link so that they can click on it to go to that area inside the member portal. And then finally, there's a lot of really cool applications for Workspaces. Once you start designing your first couple, you start kind of opening, it opens your eyes to other ways to deploy these areas that you can give to all your members or to very targeted audiences. The key is start categorizing them. I have probably 20 different workspaces. If they were just all in the root of this list, it becomes a little unwieldy for me to find a workspace that might be relevant to the theme or topic. So just be sure to think about categories of workspaces that you can start using right away, and it just provides a better way of organizing the view for the member. So let's get into questions, and there are a few questions that have come in. So let's go over this. So the first question, can you filter a custom list? You can. So there's a question around, can you filter or customize a list based off type of interest or expertise in membership? And you certainly can. So the question is where are we going to ask the question about my interests or my expertise? Sometimes that is done as part of the membership application and renewal form. Other times that is just simply a form that you give access to me in the member portal that I can go in and fill out whenever I want. So the first question is where should we ask the question? Once we know where we're going to ask the question, we can add the question to that area. And then once people start responding to that question, then you're able to filter everyone by a specific response using the list builder in our backend. So once again, there was a recorded session on list builder recently that if you weren't able to come out, you may want to take a look at that. All right, and then for the workspace recording. In terms of the webinars and the video files themselves, I should point out that Member 365 is not a video streaming host. So you are in fact going to be embedding video into the Member 365 interface so that it's delivered through the look and feel of the member portal. There's so many video hosting platforms from free to paid for you to pick from. The most obvious is YouTube. All the videos I saw in my demo were videos I pulled from YouTube and embedded from YouTube. You can make videos, you can put your videos up to YouTube and mark them as private so that they are not seen, but you can grab the embed code so that they're displayed through the Member 365 interface. Likewise, the other two popular platforms we often see used would be Vimeo or Wistia. So if anybody has questions around, hey, what's all this video hosting and embedding about? I know it's kind of technical. We're here to help you. So feel free to reach out through chat, support ticket, or book a call with us if you want to dive a little deeper into how to effectively deliver video. In terms of the recorded webinars, so we're curating those. Let me go back over to my browser. So if you go to our website, our videos are found up top under Resources, then Webinar. Here you'll be able to see the list of upcoming webinars, and then if you scroll down below, you'll be able to see all of the other webinars. And here's the list builder that I've been referring to. So once again, that's just our website, member365.com, under the resources webinar dropdown. I have a few other questions that have come in here. So somebody's wondering, they don't have access to that admin tab. So let me just get back into my demo. So they're wondering, they're not seeing this admin tab up top. And this admin tab is necessary if you want to create workspaces, or if you would like to be able to change the welcome message right here, or if you wanted to be able to have management over these badges. You'll notice that there's a manage badge button down here that you see. It also would give you admin permissions to moderate forms, like to edit or remove an inappropriate discussion forum message. So if you do not see this administration tab, I'm going to log out as a member, and I'm going to go over to the back office. All you need to do is find your record, or if you don't have permission capabilities, find the person in your office who can do this for you. But find your contact. I'll just pick the first one here, Jennifer, and go into permissions on the left-hand side of your contact record. And then make sure it's not administrator. You don't want to give Jennifer this, because that gives her access to this back office. Make sure you go to portal and make sure that you have access to portal, but it's the admin. You need to check this. And if you do that, then when you log into the member portal, you will have access to that additional administrative privilege over there. The next question I see is, what's the main difference between workspaces and committees? So the big difference is workspaces are set up on the member portal side, whereas committees are set up, actually now that I'm here in the back end, committees are set up here under modules committees. Now, that's the big difference in terms of how you go about setting these areas up. The second biggest difference is that committees, you're able to track the roles of the people that sit on the committee. So the committees are intended to be formal committees, like your board of director, your membership committee, your events committee, where you might have chair, secretary, treasurers, observer type roles. So committees allow you to track who's in what role and what the duration of the role is. And I always link that back to List Builder, because if you use committees in that fashion, you can then use our List Builder to find all of your active chairs across all of your committees, all of your inactive chairs. Maybe you're recruiting for a new chair and you want to find people that were in a chair role in the past that aren't in one today. So committees allow you to organize people into those respective roles and then find them using our List Builder. And then finally, I have one more question. It is, where do you add your badges? So I'm going to log out of the admin, and I'm going to go back in to my member side. So I just changed my URL, take off everything after .com or .org or .ca, depending on what your URL is, and that takes us to the member portal. So in terms of badge creation, you do have to have that admin access that we just went over. And then where you see your badges rotating, just find this button called Manage Badges, and you can click on that. And here's where you're able to come in and design badges. You just simply hit the Create button, and this dialog here will collect the badge information from you. So let me just quickly show you the badge I have displayed. So if you recall, on my dashboard, I have 4 badges all in kind of one panel. So if you're wondering, how are we doing that? If you go and look at that badge, which is this one, all badges, you'll notice that I've simply added to the box the graphics, and I've added links to each of these graphics so that if the user were to click on it, it's going to take them to the appropriate place in Member 365. A couple of other things that I've done is I've made the badge size the full width being Let me get my annotate tool for us. The full width being the full width from left to right. You can have badges that would appear side by each, 2 of them. So if you don't go full width, then it's half width. So let me clear my drawings here. So this has been set to be a full width, and I've removed all the color out of the header, and I'm hiding the header, the name. Otherwise, this name would appear on my badge on the other side. So I'm hiding that header. I'm making the color white, so it's just all kind of transparent and meshes well. And that's how I set up this particular badge. In closing, I'm going to show you one thing. So right now you see how it's 4 badges on one panel. If you're thinking, well, that's too many badges, I would turn that off, and then I could turn on, I have individual badges created. So I'll turn on the individual badges, and I'll go back and refresh this. And now I have individual badges that kind of rotate through. So you can get creative with this little space up here, with this little, think of this as a web page that you can, edit and add anything to. You could put a video, you could embed a YouTube video in there. I wouldn't recommend it if it's going to scroll, if it's the only thing you're showing. You could also embed a YouTube video into the welcome message. So I hope that this has provided you some insight into how you can kind of further leverage the portal. We're always here, so if there's anything we can do to help you after you digest this meeting, please don't hesitate to reach out. You have options to chat with us, search our knowledge base, submit a ticket. You can also book a call with us should you want to get some direct hands-on support through a Zoom meeting. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in today. Really appreciate your time. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.